Hi everyone, this is Michelle from Mamie's Country Quilts. Welcome back to our virtual classroom. Today I'm going to go over how to proceed with the Advent calendar kit that we've put together. So the kit package looks like this. And again, just a reminder, this is a Mamie's original pattern, so it was designed and written here by Mika. So this is not a pattern you can find anywhere but here. So if you're interested, it's on the website. You can either download the PDF version of the pattern, or you can order the kit or phone us for the kit. And you can also actually download or buy the paper version of the pattern as well online, which we will just send it to you as a pattern. So in your kit, there's going to be the instruction sheet. It's two-sided, so there's the front and the back. And then inside your kit, you're going to have the 25 fabrics that we're using for the pockets of the Advent calendar. And then you're going to have your 7 fabrics for the tree that we're building. You're going to have your background fabric. Your little border fabric is this cute little stripe. And that is as well the binding for the tree. And then you have your little piece for the trunk. So that's just a little square in your kit. And then you're going to have a little package of buttons. So we have included the Christmas buttons in this kit to help you hang your little pockets. And as well in your kit, you will have the red fabric that we've used for the numbers that are appliqued on the pockets, as well as a template for your numbers to trace onto your steam-a-seam. So this is all inside your kit. So the first thing I'm going to do here is show you how I've laid this out so we can start building the background of the Advent calendar. So you can see here I've laid out my green strips from smallest to longest, and then my white pieces go from smallest to longest the opposite way. So this is row 1 and this is row 8, and then your trunk goes down here. So this one row is sewn end to end. The rest are going to be sewn at angles, which I'm going to show you how to do right now. So this one we're just going to sew together. So I'm just going to lay this and sew it in a bit. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So what you're going to do here is once you've got it laid out into your rows, you're just going to take your green fabric and you're going to flip it from right to left so that it's upside down. And the reason I'm getting you to do it that way is there are 2 directional fabrics in this kit. This is one of them, and the very last row is the other one. So if you flip your fabric like this and put your pieces on, when you flip this back over, it will be upside down. So when you flip your fabric so that it's upside down, flip it from side to side like that. Okay, so that's very important when you're using a directional fabric. So the next step is going to be to find yourself a ruler that has the 45-degree lines marked on the ruler and a marking pencil. And I'm using one that will not erase, so that if I have to redo it and I have pressed in between, I won't have to remark my fabric. So I'm just running the 45-degree line in line with the edge of my fabric, and I'm just going to mark this down to the corner like that, and then go to this side and do the same thing. So my ruler is just on the very corner of my piece, and my line is running straight with my fabric over here. So once I have that done, you want to just turn these this way. So these are right side up right now, and you want them to stay right side up. Just turn them because you want this to be right side to right side. And you're going to put your green piece on top. And you know that you have to put your green piece on top because that's where your line is, and that's what you're going to be following when you're sewing. So I'm just going to pin that so it doesn't move. And this one will be the same on the other side. if you're thinking about those lines and wondering if you've got your angle right, just remember that your tree is being built like this, so your angle should be running like this. So your lines are running like that. If they're running like this, your tree is going to be built like this, which is not going to work. Okay, so I'm just going to sew those quickly. When you open up your strip, it should look like that, and that's what you want. So it's just going to be a little bit shorter than this one. So once you've made sure that your angles are right, you're not upside down if it's a directional print and you're in a straight line, then you're just going to go ahead and trim 1/4 inch past the seam that you just sewn. So you just put your 1/4 inch line on that seam and trim. And you'll do the same thing over here. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to go to your iron and you're going to press. And we're pressing towards the tree. So I'm just going to set my seam. Press. Okay, so once you've done that, you're just going to keep on doing the same for all of these pieces. Once you have your tree together, just going to lay this out here. There are 2 more white pieces to go top and bottom. So you're going to put these 2 strips down here. Don't forget your trunk goes down here. Then you're going to sew these on. Once you've done that, and I'm just following diagram A here on the pattern, and this is all laid out step by step in the directions over here. So once you've got those 2 little top and bottom pieces on, then you're going to sew on your little striped border. And again, be aware that we have a directional border here, so you want your trees to be right side up, like that. And then across the top, you're going to want to put these like that. And once you have those ones on, then you put your side white pieces on, and then your top and bottom white pieces on. So you're basically, we're just building the background of the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and once I have mine built, I'll come back and I will show you how to go from there. Okay, now I'm back with the background finished. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So as you can see, we've got our background all sewn up, and just a few things before we continue. I chose to press all my seams down when I did this. You can do it either way. It doesn't really matter as long as it's done in the same way all the way through. Same thing with your borders. I always press to the outside when I'm putting my borders on. It can be done in a variety of different ways as long as it's consistent all the way through. So the next step now is to actually mark where we're going to place our buttons on here. We're not going to put the buttons on right away, but we're going to make those marks. And the reason we're doing it that way, because as we discovered with ours, after we quilted it, the dimensions change. So it's pretty hard for us to give you guidelines as to how to measure this up if you do it after you've quilted it, because everybody's going to quilt it differently. Some are going to be tighter, some are going to be looser. So we figured it'd be easier to mark it before you do the quilting, and then you just go in and put the buttons on after. So to do that, we're going to flip our piece upside down. And I'm just going to turn this way. So just a few things. When you mark this up, we chose to do it on the background, so you can either use something that's not going to be pressed away, or you can choose something that's going to be pressed away. But what you definitely want to do at the end is we're going to mark our marks on the front with something that is not going to be pressed away, in case you end up pressing it before you go to quilt it, and then all your marks are going to be gone. So you're going to need two types of pencils to do this project. I like to use the ones that press away so I can get rid of all the marks that I don't need. So I'm going to use a friction pen to start, and then we're just going to use a marking pencil to do the rest on the front. So we're just going to take our ruler. So the first one first mark you're going to make is going to be 3/4 of an inch from the top of your tree. So we're just going to do that like that, and you're just going to mark a line all the way down like that. Okay. And then we're going to do a line, and this is also shown on your patterns. I'm just going to show you, we have a diagram here of all the measurements, and then on the back Mika has detailed instructions on how to and where to place your lines. So we're going to do a 4.5 inch mark, 4 1/4 from the bottom. So same thing, you're just going to use the bottom of your advent calendar as your straight line along with your ruler. And then you're also going to do one that's 10 3/4 from the bottom. So this is a 6 inch ruler, so I'm going to add 6 or 3 3/4. So I'm just going to go like that. And I'm just going to mark. All the way up. So now that you have these 3 marks, one at the top, 2 at the bottom, you're going to mark 2.5 inches in this way. And this is actually a 2.5 inch ruler. So I'm just going to use that. And just going to make a little cross on these lines like that. And then you're going to go 5 inches in from that line. So you're going to go So you're going to do 5, 10, 15, 20, and I need to reset my ruler, but you get the idea. So you're just going to mark your lines. You're going to do this line, the second line from the bottom, and then the third, the one at the top, you'll do the same way. Okay, I'm not going to mark them all here for you, but that's the way we're going to do it. So once we do that, you're going to turn your calendar this way, because now we're going to mark the side panels in the same fashion. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to mark a line 2.5 inches in from the side, and you're just making this line from this seam to this seam. So basically just the side border that you've attached, and you'll do this on the other side, and then you'll mark your lines as Mika has indicated on the pattern on the sides. Then the only other mark that you need to make is the one in the center. So you're going to be, and there's a couple ways of doing that. Mika actually has the dimensions for you to measure out, so you'll just make a line one way and a line the other way to find your center. The other way you could do it is just fold your advent calendar in quarters. And this point right here would be your center. So you would mark that as the center of your tree. So I'm just going to make a mark right there. So once you have that done, you're going to go back. So this one I've marked here. So I can see some of my marks through with the red pen. I would go ahead and take, not the friction pen this time, but an actual pencil that's not going to be removed, and you're going to make that mark on the front so that it's going to be there after I'm done quilting, and that's where you're going to sew your buttons. So that's how we figured out where to put the buttons. Now keep in mind that we're using the measurements 30 by 38 because in a perfect world, that's where this the dimension should be for the calendar. If it's not, you're going to have to do a little bit of tweaking for the measurements. And you can just play with the side measurements to do that. You can leave the center parts the same, just shorten up or lengthen that 2.5 inch on the sides to make it work. Okay, so the next part now is to build the little pockets. So to do those, out of those 25 prints that you had, you were asked to cut 2 rectangle sizes out of each strip. So you have your big strip and your little strip. The little one is used to make the little handle on the pocket. So this little piece right here. So I'm going to show you how to do that first. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that piece, you're going to fold it in half, and you can just finger press this and then open it up, and you're going to fold to the center crease that you just made. So like that. And then you're going to fold that in half. And then you're going to press that with the iron. Okay? So you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this. So now you're going to take this piece to your machine, and I would suggest probably getting them all to this point and then going to your machine. And then you're going to sew the part that's open first. You're just going to do a little edge stitch along there. And the way we do that is we just chain stitch. So you're just going to chain them all through. This way it's not so hard to get it started for every time that you have a little piece there. When you're doing little pieces, sometimes it's hard to get your machine to start properly. Once you have them all done on that one side, you're going to flip it over and you're going to do the other side. So it's going to look like a little mini strap. That's how we do the straps for our bags. Right, so once you've got your chain done, you're just going to cut them apart. So you're going to have this, and then you're going to take this, each one of these, you're going to fold them in half. So like this. And this is going to create a little triangle at the top. Like that, to make your little hook. So once you have that done, you're just going to go to your machine and you're going to sew all of these just to hold this together like this. So you'll do that. Once you have that done, so it's going to look like this. And just make sure you fold all your pieces the right way. So one of it's going to, this piece is going to be the wrong way. This is going to be your right way for your little hook. So that little triangle is going to be on the front of for your bag that you're creating. So once you have all of those done, you're going to trim that tab to 1 1/4 inches. So you're just going to go ahead and cut this. So make sure when you're sewing these together, you're sewing high enough so that you can trim this to 1 1/4. So they're all the same length. So once you have all of these, we can now move on to making our pocket. So I'm just going to move these up here. Okay. So to do our pocket, you're going to start with this piece here, and you're just going to fold this in half, like that. And you want to do that wrong sides together. So once you have it wrong sides together, you're going to take one of these little tabs and you're going to put, I'm just going to use a different tab here so you can see it. You're going to put this in the center. So the easiest way to do that is just fold your pocket in half and then just put the center of your tab on that crease. Okay, then you're going to leave that like that. So then you're going to go to your machine and you're just going to sew across that so it holds your tab in place. Once you've done that, you're going to sew along one side all the way down on all of your pockets. And then on the other side, you're going to leave an opening. So this side is sewn all the way down. The second side, you're just going to leave an opening about an inch, 1.5 inches in width so that we can actually flip this pocket over, okay? So once you've done that, you're going to clip your corners and then you're just going to flip your pocket. So you're going to find that opening and you're just going to flip that pocket so that it looks like this. So your opening is right here and you'll just fold that so it's nice and straight. So your little tab is right here. And then once you have that part done, you're just going to turn this. So you'll just pull this out. Make sure you're tucking the side with the hole on the inside, like that. And you're going to fiddle with your corners and make sure everything is nice. And then you're just going to go ahead and press it and it's going to look like this. And then you're done. So you just have to make, all your pockets are done that way. So it's just one easy peasy little step. Alright, so now that your pockets are done, just a few things about finishing it. So once you're done, you're going to be binding your quilt. If you want to add tabs or a hanging sleeve, you would do that in the binding process. You would make that your sleeves and your tabs and sew them into your first seam of your binding and then hand stitch or machine stitch your binding down, whichever way you want. Another option for finishing is just to use a curtain rod and then just use the loops to hang onto your binding. So then you wouldn't have to add any other piece of fabric or anything to your quilt. You would just hold them up with the curtain rod loops. So those are just a couple of ideas for finishing it up. So we have, again, this pattern is available in PDF and paper form on our website, and the kit is also available on our website. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and give us a shout through email or phone us at the shop and we'll give you a hand. Thank you.